welcome to a special edition of the One Percenters. My name's Hass and I'm your co-host for today. And alongside me, we have Hammer. Hello, Hammer. How are you?
I'm excited.
All right, good. So as you know, this podcast is called the One Percenters, and that's because that's where we aspire to finish, in the top 1% of Fantasy Premier League. And with over 7 million players in the game, anywhere in the top 70,000 we see as a success. But of course, the ultimate goal of the game is to finish top, to be crowned the overall champion of Fantasy Premier League. And that's where we have our special guest today. Speaking of world number ones, welcome to Yusuf, the 2018 Fantasy Premier League World Champion. Hey, Yusuf, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. I'm nervous. I don't do this much, but yeah.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's great. Don't be nervous. It's just, well done for winning 2018. I know that must have been a nerve-wracking season. And we also have Adil. Adil, you were there to witness Yusuf winning the 2018 Premier League title. Is that correct?
Yes. Hi, guys. Thanks on having me on, even though I bring no value to this.
I'm sure Yusuf was reaching out to you for tips. So before we get going, I understand that both of you know Hammer. You've known Hammer for a long time. Went to school with him?
Yes, the same high school.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, all three of us.
Good stuff. I've known Hammer since he was 3 years old, since he was pooping his pants.
All right. So hopefully some of that FPL knowledge has rubbed off on Hammer. All right, great. So why don't we get started? So let me, I want to start talking about the 2018 season. I know it's a couple of years back, and especially with this whole pandemic we're going through, it feels like it's a long, long time ago. But, so talk us through that one, Yusuf. So, let's start off in game week 38. Let's get to the crunch of what's really going on. How are you feeling going into game week 38, knowing you're 33 points off the top, sitting in 6th place, but you have your triple captainship? So what's your thoughts going into that week?
Game week 38, 2018. Let me start with, have you heard of this show called the FPL show?
Yeah, I've seen it.
You've seen it, yeah? So I've 2018, I used to watch clips of that on YouTube and Facebook, whatever I could find. Every now and then I'll find clips and then go through that every now and then. So I remember going into Game Week 38, they're discussing the top 5 or the potential people who could actually win it going into Game Week 38. So they talk about the top 5 and not the number 6 in the world, which is me. So I was disregarded, and they discussed number 1 at that time, Baradori. I remember him. And then there was, I think, team number 2. I can't remember the name, but the top 5 and the chips that they have left. Some of them, I think, had a bench boost or something. Some chips left. And then I look at my team and I see that I'm the only one in the top 10, I think, with the triple captainship. I'm not you're always hoping that maybe you could win it. You just don't give up. But I wasn't that positive. And then I go a triple captain. And then the question comes, who do I put my triple captain on? I think it was a no-brainer at that time. Mohamed Salah, Mo Salah, with the goals that he kept scoring day in, day out, each week. So I go with Mo Salah, and then I hope for the best. And then I leave it all. Yeah, you just pray and then hope it all goes well.
That's
and at
great.
that point, after the punishment I got from the previous season in my mini league, the goal was just to end top of the league, of my mini league. And then that's all I was looking for.
Yeah, you went one better. Instead of topping your mini league, you topped the world. Number 1 out of almost 7 million players. And then just quickly going on to that game week, Salah, you must be watching at home, and Mohamed Salah scores after 26 minutes. So what are you, jumping around, going crazy? What's the atmosphere like at home?
Actually, he wasn't watching. I remember him writing on our WhatsApp group, and he's like, I'm so nervous, I can't really watch any of these games. And then here, we have a group of friends, and they're like, yo, 6 isn't so bad. It's good. First in Africa. And then it's but no one really remembers 2nd place, yeah? So as the goals were coming in, then all of us, the group, we're now texting him, yo, Yusuf, your picks are starting to score goals. And I remember Jesus scoring in like the 90-something minute, and Yusuf has Jesus as well. So it just kept boosting. Yeah.
That's amazing. And you know, Adil, tell us the truth. How much advice did you have to give Yusuf in that final season?
Zero.
If I have to be honest, I think I should be crowned the FPL. Behind every FPL champ, there is a Liverpool supporter. So no, I have nothing to do with it. I just witnessed it, and it was amazing to behold and to unfold in front of us, because there was always ups and downs every game week. But then the last game week, as the game week ended, you see, I didn't know about this app that Hammer has told me about that gives you live scores. Yeah. So we had to rely on FPL's actual website, which takes at least 3 hours to give you the actual results.
Right.
I remember this.
Yeah, we can't wait. And then I'm like, yo, Yusuf, you might have actually done it, because I'm looking at Bharat's score and I'm like, yo, this guy has 40-something points. He had a really, really bad game week.
Come on,
so I open up my laptop. I open
Excel file.
My story. I open up Excel, and then I put up the top 15 guys, and then like 30 minutes later, I'm like, yo, Yusuf, I really, really think you've done it. So we were like optimistic, but cautiously optimistic. And then like an hour later, we get the great news.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, waiting for that, you know, the bonus points to come in and the website to update.
Yes, exactly.
Painful. Yeah. So, you know, when you won the competition, they give you some nice prizes. Do they fly you out to England to watch a Premier League game?
Yeah, they do. They do. So immediately after you win, what they do is they send you, someone contacts you from the Premier League, and they tell you, we're contacting you. So that's immediately after just before the bonus points. I think before the bonus points come in, and then obviously, so they're finalizing the calculations. And then what he says is like, well, we think you might have won the Fantasy Premier League. And in anticipation of this, we're contacting you to just let you know that someone else will be contacting you once everything's confirmed. So that's like the first email that comes in. And then a while later, someone contacts you and starts asking you, how do you, like your prizes and all that, you won this and this and this. And then, what happens next is during the next course of the month. So it's more what happens then is the interviews. I think that's the first thing that starts. So they start asking you when you're free and if you're free to appear in the FPL show. And then Mark Southerns, I don't know if you've heard of Mark Southerns, FPL legend.
Yeah, he's a legend. Yeah, I know him.
FPL legend. So Mark Southerns is one of the people who contacted me as well, telling me that he wanted me to, I think, for an interview as well.
Yeah.
So, and then for FPL Scout, because there's his website, FPL Scout.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had to do one for them, one for the Fantasy Premier League show as well. So it's mostly just people contacting you from the Premier League and the Fantasy Premier League. Yeah. So it's a lot of things coming in at once. And then the prize details come way later after a few days. They let it sink in, and then the prize details and the questions start coming in.
So then, when you won the competition and you had to pick which match you went to, which match did you go to?
Okay, so the first season, for the 2019, I remember I think I picked a United Liverpool game. And then there was a United City game, but then I couldn't get time off work to leave to go. Yeah, I think that was 2019. And then, so I had to actually, for the season that I was supposed to go to England, the UK, I didn't manage to go. So I had to push it to the year after. And I would like to even thank the Premier League for this. I've thanked them, and I keep thanking them because they were very patient with me. So 2 seasons later, they agreed to have me to still claim my prize and go to England.
Just before lockdown.
I ended up, just before lockdown actually. And at that time, so I managed to see the Everton-Chelsea game at Stamford Bridge. Just before, and the next game I think was the United game in Old Trafford, but I think the coronavirus at that time had taken over London and Manchester, and then there was travel restrictions and all that. So I had to cancel the second game, but I managed to watch the Chelsea-Everton game. Yeah.
Okay, nice. Glad you enjoyed that. Okay, so you know what? Why don't we get into the mind of a champion? I want to really understand how you go about your FPL game weeks. All right, so no, so you know, first things, you know, let's focus on building a team. Okay, so when you look at, you know, building your squad of 15 players, you know, what's your view on the, you know, the formations that you play? How do you, is that how you look at, you know, where to pick your players?
Yeah, so I think formation, I mostly go with 3 defenders. I think I tried that during the 2018 season, playing with 3 defenders, 3-5-2 or 3-4-3, and then I saw that's when it really worked in the 2017-2018 season when I won. I tried to experiment the season after with 4 defenders or 5 defenders. I can safely say that didn't work for me, at least from my part. So this season I've gone back to 3 defenders. I'm planning not to change that. I don't care if Chilwell or anyone else keeps scoring, or Trent Alexander-Arnold, whoever, Robertson, I'm not going to change from 3 defenders. I trust midfielders more than strikers. That's something that has worked for me, and I'm going to stick with that. That's why I'll always captain a midfielder instead of a striker, in my opinion. So it's always a 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. That's the formation I go with. Yeah.
And those are the 2 traditional, you know, top formations that people go with. I know last season there was a lot of talk about going big at the back, where, you know, you'd put 5 at the back just for value.
Yes.
But like you said, it didn't really work out because there wasn't that many clean sheets. And even this season, not too many clean sheets as well.
Yes.
That's good. And then what's your feeling on percentage ownership? Like when you look at a player and you think, okay, I don't have this guy in my team, but his ownership is now at 40% or 40, like Son, for instance, I think it's above 50% now. And if you don't have Son, is that, you know, is that somebody you think, okay, I need to get in just to protect where I am, because if he goes off, then I'm losing overall rank?
I think this is where I've been told I play the game different. I think Mark Silence mentioned that to me. The guy who introduced me to the game, the fantasy game, a cousin of mine, Abu, he keeps saying that I play the game different, is because I do not look at percentage ownership. So past seasons, this is the first season I've owned Harry Kane, first season, and he's gone. I think he's been top scorer in the previous seasons. He's been consistently scoring, but I've gone against most people have had him, too many people ownership, but I've gone against that because I've just never liked Harry Kane when he plays.
No, and
I don't
know
something about the eye. He's never passed the eye test for me in the previous seasons, and I was never comfortable with him, especially with his price. So I've always gone with players that I feel, players that pass the eye test.
Yeah.
That's normally what makes me pick the players. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's a great point. And the good thing, the beauty of FPL is there's many ways to play the game, right? Like you see the template that people have on Twitter, but you know, you could have a team that's totally different, and you know, they could both be doing well. And this, especially this season, there's so many value players that you know, there's a number of players you could bring in.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So, you know, let's move on to transfers, because I think this is the key thing, right? Anybody can have, you know, your starting team, it really ends up, you know, being the team you finish with because you're going through so many transfers. And the way I play the game is I'm quite methodical and slow, and I try to bring in transfers for a longer period of time. And sometimes I think that costs me points, because you see people who make, you know, they take hits, they bring in these form players, they just bring them in for a week or two, you know, captain them, and then they're flying. But, you know, in terms of how you play the game, you know, what do you look for when you transfer somebody in? Are you looking at the next 3, 4, 5 fixtures, or do you just look at that 1 or 2 game weeks and think, all right, I want to get some points off this guy?
Okay. Quick advice to Adil: do not take negative hits. Do not take negative hits. Avoid. Because
so the minus 16 doesn't work? Are you telling me minus 16 doesn't work every game week?
Minus 4 doesn't work. Minus 8 won't work. Minus 16, 100% won't work. This is how I've always played. And I tried last season to take hits, -4, -8. I can also say negative hits do not work. go with, if you have one transfer, go with one transfer. If you need to do two, take two. With your wild card, take time using it. Unless you have a really bad team, use your wild card. Transfers, I always look at least 3 or 4 games, the next 3 or 4 fixtures for that player before I get them in. So I'll look at who they play in the next 3 or 4 fixtures, and then look at the form, and then am I happy with how they've played recently? And then that mostly does it for me. For most players I've picked, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that's you know, that's a similar way to how I play. I play like nice and steady, but you know, I mean, that's the thing, right? I think Hammer is one of those aggressive guys, maybe like Adil, that likes to take the hits. Yeah. So you know, one of the other things, you know, an important value of important point on FPL is your team value. So I see a lot of people, you know, because now there's a lot of websites where you can track whether the price is going up and down on, you know, on a daily basis. And they try and make some early moves because they might catch a rise and they, you know, they don't lose out on 0.1. And because, you know, if you're trying to buy a player who's going up 0.1, you're dropping a player who's going down, it's the 0.2 difference. And that could be the difference between bringing in a guy in and not bringing him in. So, but then I've also read, you know, some people, they don't care about team value. They'll wait till the Friday before the deadline and pick a team based off the latest information. So what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think I'm one of the latter, not the former. I wait until injuries are confirmed, training. Sometimes players get injured during training and all that, international games. So I wait until almost, I might say the day when the games, let's say today, this one I'll probably do my transfers. I've heard that there's a league where people compete over team values. I don't know if you've heard of that.
Yeah.
And that's where I think the website where people follow price rises and price falls.
Right.
And I think that's, yeah, so the people who actually play the game just for the team values and all that. But I'm not one who looks into team value that much. As long as whoever I have can gives me the points, that's all that matters. Although sometimes it's backfires because you might not have enough money to buy the player you want.
Yeah,
and
no,
this happens a lot. Yeah,
that's true. But at least you don't, you know, the way you play it, you don't have to worry about a player getting injured midweek, right? And some news that comes out. Yeah, because I know the press conferences on Friday mornings. It's, you know, I'm always looking for those updates as well.
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead, Hammer.
Yeah, unless they get injured in the warm up, right? That's the only way you lose out.
Right.
Someone did something to Pulisic last week to get Werner to start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
I was happy because I didn't have Timo, and I was hoping because I had Jorginho. I bought Jorginho for the penalties. I'm disappointed that didn't work.
Yeah, it's back over to Timo apparently. But so the next question I was going to ask you was around captain picks, but I think you've already, you know, given us a bit of insight into that. So you know, you say that you try to focus on the midfielders, and you're looking at those because they bring in the extra point for the goal, and then I guess a clean sheet bonus as well. Yeah. So
yeah.
No, I was just going to say so. Sorry, just to finish off the question, when you're looking at a captain, so say you've got a couple of different guys, a couple of different midfielders to pick from, what is it that you look for? Because I know you mentioned the eye test, but one of the stats that I look for, because I'm really a statistics guy, I always look at, you know, there's XG and XA and shots in the box and team expected goals. Is this something that you look at, or is it just purely eye test?
I ignore XG, XA, all these stats. I completely ignore this most of the time. I see this on Twitter every now and then. It catches my eye, but I try to ignore it as much as possible. I think I saw someone post on Twitter, one of the Twitter pages I think that I follow that is really into FPL, and they said that no one on Twitter had won. No one that won FPL before was on Twitter before they won it, and everyone's joined after they won the FPL. So I think Twitter has too much information, so I try as much as possible to filter that out, especially when it comes to captain picks. I haven't been good. I've not been successful even in the year that I won the Fantasy Premier League. I haven't been successful that much when it comes to captain picks, but during the times that I've failed, I've seen that picking a midfielder always works compared to picking a striker. And the times that the striker actually outpicked my midfield captain, I always had another midfielder that had performed better than the striker that outperformed my captain. So it's always one midfielder. It's just about choosing the right midfielder on the team.
Yeah.
That will give you the right the points.
No, definitely.
I mean, that's my opinion. I know there's people who've captained Kane this week. I hope he gives you
Hey,
gives you your points.
Yusuf, the thing is, whenever you give us advice, you can always say, "Hey, I won Fantasy Premier League," so that's it. We have no argument to come back from that one.
Hope Adil's listening to this. Huh?
Okay, so
points. Yeah, okay.
No, that's great. So, okay, so moving on, I've just got a quick fire round. So I've just put together a couple of names, 2 players, and I'm just going to read them off. And I just want you to get, first thing that comes into your head, just give me a pick. Right? You don't have to tell me why, just go with it. All right. Quick fire round. I think I've got about 10 of them. Okay, first, Salah or Mane?
Mane this season.
All right. Kane or Son?
Son.
De Bruyne or Sterling?
Ooh. Do I always have to pick one?
You're gonna pick both? No, go with one. Just pick one.
Or neither.
Are we talking about this season? Yeah.
Yeah, just this season. Yeah.
This season, then De Bruyne.
All right. Grealish or Zaha?
Grealish.
Yeah. Pulisic or Ziyech?
Pulisic, but Ziyech now because Pulisic is injured. But I'll always go with Pulisic over Ziyech for now. Yeah. Until I think Ziyech needs more time, but yeah, I'll go with Pulisic for now.
All right. Werner or Vardy?
Vardy.
Interesting. Okay. Trent or Robbo?
Ooh, I like Robertson this season. So if this season's Robertson, but I've always gone with Trent. Never had Robertson at any point during the past seasons. I'm considering him this season, but I've always gone with Trent. So for this season, Robertson.
Robbo. Yeah, I like him. His underlying stats are very good this year as well.
Yes.
And Wilson or Bamford?
Okay. Because see, with Wilson, I was talking to the guys earlier on. Wilson is a story of regret this season because I had Wilson, I sold him at the wrong time, and I've been regretting it ever since. I like Bamford. I just bought Bamford. So it's a hard pick, but looking into this week, I'm saying Bamford.
Good choice. I just brought him in as well. Okay.
Yeah.
And then one final one, not players, but just what do you think is more important, fixtures or form?
Oof, that's always hard. Okay, so it really depends on the week. But okay, I'll just go with form now.
Good choice.
Yeah, form. Yeah.
Okay, great. And then just
especially
to finish off,
this season, yeah. This season, the fixtures, you just don't know with fixtures. Yeah, so I think form.
Yeah. I was reading an article by last year's champion. He's a statistician, mathematician, and
Joshua Bull, yeah.
Yeah, Joshua Bull. That's right. He did this. I think it was a video he put together. It was really well done, and I think he's talking about fixtures versus form. So he was saying when he brings in players for the long term, he looks at fixtures, but when he's picking a captain, he's looking at form. So it worked for him last year. So it's a good theory.
Yeah, it's a good theory. When the same league, they have like a Champions League of Champions. The league.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Okay,
so every season, yeah. Joshua Bull was in this season.
Hopefully, in a few years, one of us will be invited to
hopefully,
that.
Hopefully, I hope so.
Yeah. Okay, and just just a final thoughts on this season. So I've got a few points that a lot of questions these that come up on Twitter. People are asking about what do we do here, what do we do here. So your thoughts on for this season bringing in Chelsea defenders.
Now, yes, get them in now. With Mendy, you get Mendy or get the defenders. Chilwell. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, Chilwell's looking good. All right. And your thoughts on Manchester United assets?
I'm waiting. The fixtures are getting better after the international break. Rashford is good because he's a midfielder now. Bruno Fernandes on penalties, I think, yeah. But otherwise, I've been avoiding them. until after international break. Yeah.
But he is wearing a City jersey.
This week, only this week.
Okay. And then, you know, Aston Villa, a lot of people jumped on their defenders because they kept a few clean sheets and then they conceded 4 against Southampton. So what's your thought on the Villa defense?
I think the fixtures are okay. West Ham, Aston Villa, I would say, yeah, I wouldn't mind getting at least one defender. And then you can actually rotate the defenders depending on the fixtures.
Okay. And then, well, I know you're wearing a City top, so my next question was going to be about Manchester City attack. They haven't been as prolific this season, but what's your thoughts?
Yeah. I'm only wearing this because I really need Foden to perform this game week versus Liverpool. And I hope City wins. For some reason, I don't know why. I want Liverpool to lose. Sorry, Adil. But yeah, I think with Aguero out, Aguero comes in. I would say we buy De Bruyne or Sterling or one of the City attackers. With Aguero out and Jesus probably coming back in, with no strikers, I was avoiding them. I only have Foden because he's good value. That's the only one reason.
Yeah, 6.5, you can't go wrong. And then the final one is Everton assets. What do? They started flying and now they've slowed down.
Stick. I think we stick.
Yeah, stick.
Okay. Yeah. Rames is playing this week. I think DCL is back in the goals. I can see that happening. I hope it does. DCL is going to, I think Richarlison is not yet back, but he should be coming back soon. But with Rames back, I think they're back. They're going to play. I think stick with Everton.
All right, thanks. Okay, so you know that does cover all my questions I had around fantasy football. But I do have a non-fantasy football question for you. Is who do you think is going to win the Premier League this year?
Oh, I still think Liverpool's going to win it. I said that earlier in the season. I think Spurs are going to. I said Spurs are going to do well before the season started, and they're proving me right. And I hope they continue playing well because I think they're going to finish in the top 4. So my top 4 is Liverpool, Spurs. I don't know if Leicester can keep it up. I'm worried about Leicester and Everton. I don't know if they can keep it up. I think sometime later on, things are they're going to have it hard after at least 18 game weeks. During the 20-something game weeks, that's when players start getting tired and all that. But yeah, I think Liverpool to win it, Spurs to get at least into the top 4. That's what I think. Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. And then what?
Sorry, I do have one question just pertaining to fantasy, right? Yeah. Are there any players you see this year that you think will do well going forward that haven't done well so far?
Okay. Last season, this came out as a joke. And I kept repeating it when I kept saying Traore. I started saying this earlier in the season, and it became a joke because every week Traore wouldn't perform, and I kept saying he's going to perform, and then it became like a joke. People like Traore, and then he ended up performing well. I think last season. Yeah. This season, so far I can't think of anyone. I think Saka is a good pick. I think most people don't have him. Saka, Arsenal, but he's getting minutes and he's been playing really well. So I would say Saka, but I don't know. I can't think of anyone yet, not at the moment.
Okay, no, that's a good question. And you know, there's a lot of these guys, I think, like you mentioned, but it's just when they get minutes, right? Then that's when you can really pick them. Okay. Yeah. And then one last one for Yusuf. I know, you know, we have our mini league, and I believe Adil's part of that mini league already. Will you join our mini league? So we have somebody to try and target.
Ooh, the pressure. I'll join. No problem.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, so brilliant. So, you know, thanks again for your time, Yusuf. Thanks, Adil, for joining us. Good luck with the rest of your season. Thank you for the education. It's been a pleasure, and you're always welcome back to the show whenever you want to join us.
Do not listen to me. I think main only reason I don't know. People ask whether I think there's a question whether luck has something to do with it, or whether it's stats, or whether there's something. I think Joshua Bo is a stat guy, so he'll say stats are everything. I would say luck, and I think for me, this was something, as I would say, God. I don't know. For me, it's all Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said. For me, that it's destiny. We say qadr, yeah?
Yeah.
Because looking at the last game week, there was no way I was going to win it, but then it just happened. And every week you pick someone who might not. I think Adam knows this with Mahrez. Mahrez was playing for Leicester this season, where I think he wasn't even doing well. And then I for some reason, I just went with Mahrez as captain. And then I think towards the end, I think almost 90th minute, if I'm not wrong, he gets a free kick and scores, and then also gets bonus points. And then he was my captain. So I think all these things, when you look into it, stats had nothing to do with it at that time. Form had nothing to do with it. It was just a gut feeling where you just pick and then something works out. And then, so alhamdulillah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. And that, very modest, but, I think luck does come into it, but I think, stats come into it. And, obviously there's a skill involved and amazing, you beat 7 million people that year. So, well done again.